Hello and welcome to today's Spotlight Sessions. Very warm welcome. And in this live session, we focus on our exhibitor's message, theme, or story that deserves to be in the spotlight. And on this session, I have with me Joanne Brooks. Hello, Joanne.
Hello, Sigrid. As always, wonderful to be here with you. Thank you.
Good to have you here. Now, Joanne, you are the founder of Her Transformation and the circle builder behind Navigate Biz. You've been in business for a while and you have loads of experience. You're focusing on the business behind the book, and I'd like to explore that a bit with you today around what does it mean, the business behind the book? Give us an explanation on how you see
Yeah.
that and where the first step towards a business behind the book would be.
Great question. Thank you. I guess I see it as we've got people who have produced or developed a book, put a lot of time, effort, a lot of genius, and gathered a lot of skills to create that. And I feel that often the thought is that that book is going to escalate their business just naturally. It's just going to magically happen, right? It's this magic tool. And for some it will, and that would be amazing and wonderful if it did. But what I know as a business owner and a co-author of a book and other things that I've done, you can't scale and grow a business without good foundations in the business. And this might feel like a bit of a dry subject, but I think if I can share with people that those elements in your business actually increase the financial value of your business. Because for me, when I'm talking about, we're talking with women in business who've built a business, they have a book, and I will ask them a question that often gets them a little bit confuddled. And I'll go, what's your exit strategy? And they'll look at me and go, gosh, yeah, I haven't even got the book published yet, or it's only just launched and the customer's only just coming. Why would I think about that? And my answer to that is you will run your business according to the idea of how you're going to exit your business, whether you're going to sell it, merge it, franchise it, list it, any number of so many ways you can exit a business. And the only way to do that successfully is putting in really good foundations, the dry stuff.
Mm.
But if I can, as I said, if I can share that it brings financial value to your business, that should fire them up just a little bit.
I think that's an extremely valuable point, Joanne. I think a lot of particularly entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that jump into business fairly new, often also from a perhaps a corporate
Yeah.
position before, that they are not looking at the business actually having financial value
Yes.
down the track. It is most of the time they are the business. But even
Yes.
if they are the business, there are ways to set up the value, especially when you have the book as a part of it. How would you describe that that makes that up for someone who hasn't thought about it in
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I think a lot of people, I come across a lot of people who, they've got, if I talk, talk about one sector that I know intimately well, which is the coaching sector. They have a book, they put it out there. But they also, if I ask them, oh yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. I've got some online courses as well. Well, hello, we're adding value to our business as we're building already. So even though they might be a solopreneur, the fact that they've created those assets in the business has created value in the business, right?
Mm.
And so what I talk with women about is how do you make sure that when you're, let's say you want to go take a holiday, how does your business continue to speak about you and build value and engage with your customers? Well, that's building a team, etc. But what do we need to do to plan so that you can step out of the business and the business is not all focused on you? Because that's what the exit strategy needs to be. And that's what I work with women in business to do.
Mm.
And when people have a business that's just called Joanne Brooks Coaching, for example, and I have to say I've never done that. I always put a business name in front of it. That's one of the first steps I would suggest to people is think about the name of your business so that it's not fully reliant on you. And it could end up be evolving to Brooks Coaching, which would be perfectly fine, right? But have that thought process and do little incremental steps about how you can do that.
Yeah, great point there, Joanne. And from having purchased businesses myself and then run and sold them again for that whole purpose, I take that point completely. Not many entrepreneurs and especially coaches, as you're pointing out, are thinking that way. Certainly not initially until they get, guidance from someone like you around that. So
Hmm.
let's put the book into the focus.
Yes.
The book, of course, is in the name of the person. So it
Yeah.
does put the person front and center
Mm.
stage.
Mm.
What are you attaching to that that really makes it powerful, but still keeps it to the value of the business?
Well, I think it's the book is where they're sharing their genius, right? And the book could well be what somebody needs to be doing, whatever the book is about, mindfulness. These are the things that you need to do. For me, I would like to think that the book is that entry point. And if you want to know how to do this, this is the what.
Mm,
Let's now explore the how. And that's when you can leverage that how by having customers come into your business to do the coaching, the online courses, all those sort of things. And you're right, the book is from the genius of the owner, and whether the book will have the author as Joanne Brooks or Sigrid, etc.
mm,
It's still adding value to the business because you're sharing the culture, the values, the purpose, the mission within the book, and that just is the external facing touchy-feely piece of collateral that your prospective clients can quietly dip into your business and get a sense of who are you? What are you doing? And I can't tell you how many books I've bought. And I go, oh, I actually need to go and do some more work with this person. And so there could be global leaders, they could be all sorts of people, but it's a great way for you to get your customers to get a feel of who are you? What are you about? How do you speak to me? Because you're not going to be able to connect with your tone to everybody, right?
mm.
That's not going to connect with everyone. And that's perfectly okay because there's so much opportunity out there. But the book is a great way for people to get a sense, who are you? What's your genius? What can I learn from you? Does it resonate with me? And am I now going so far up going, I so want to go and learn more from this person and let me go and look on their website and their LinkedIn profile and find what else I can do with this person. What else can I learn and get these little nuggets of gold from you?
When you're working with someone, Joanne, is it for you more important or easier in some ways that when they already have a book, or do you prefer them to think about wanting to have a book before they start working with you? Is one or the other easier to build the business from your
Yeah.
perspective?
I think, well, if they've already got a book, they've got a piece of collateral that we can leverage. And then we can draw on the learnings in that book and the lessons to build some infrastructure into the business. And it's about operating procedures, how you speak to people, automation. So that's a lovely step in the right direction. But, for me, easy or not, it doesn't matter. If I've got somebody who's keen to write a book, we'll be putting them right in front of the right people because that's not what I do. And there's some people here, person I'm talking to, might be interested in helping, or the enormous network that I have. So it's not about easy. It's about, oh, well, it's just a different approach and a different phase in their business
Mm.
that I can then introduce them to the right people to get those books done. And as we spoke yesterday, it could be one of these, a co-authored, or it could as a gentle step into it, or it could be their own book. So for me, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I guess it is a perspective on how do you look at the steps that are required, because they are different steps.
Mm.
When someone's already got a book, you've got to have a look. What's the book actually about? Is what I would imagine, and
Yes.
therefore you're looking at what sort of supporting
Yeah,
elements are you going to put in place. When we're starting and we don't have the book, they don't have the book just yet, then you can plan first even
exactly.
what the book is going to be about. That makes it easier in the connections to what you're creating, is what
Yeah.
I, yeah, what I think
Yeah.
that as well. Hmm.
I think if you've got the book, I would then be looking, well, how can we escalate the content that's in there? Is there an online course? Is there a program that you can deliver that speaks directly to the book, but is an extension of the book? So that certainly highlights those areas that we can go. But who's to say that that's going to be their only book? They might have a number of subject matters that they might like to talk about. And that helps us to identify where else can we go with another book, or are we starting a book?
And create that. So
Yeah.
what is your opinion, your take on giving the client the direction to find a lot of opportunities to be on podcasts, interviews, somewhere where they can talk about
Yeah.
themselves and their book? Is that a huge feature that you promote
Yeah.
for clients, or are you more of a balanced, a little bit of everything
Mm.
direction?
I'm going to say see all of the above, Sigrid, if I may. I love podcasts and I do whatever I can to get myself on podcasts. So I'm probably on one every couple of weeks, thereabouts, because I know just through my own efforts is not sufficient to get my message out there.
Mm,
So I will encourage, because when you start thinking about putting a book together or promoting a book, why wouldn't you want to get on a podcast and share the brilliance of that book and give some insights into it? And, the wonderful thing today is we can get on podcasts in anywhere, any part of the globe, and
yes.
therefore reaching different areas. And if you get the right podcast, for example, I was on one a couple of weeks ago, and they very generously produce it. They put it to social media. They send me the snippets that I need, and so I don't have to do that. The full video and the snippets, and I can share the heck out of it.
Mm.
So find the right podcast to get your message out there. There's so many, and in fact, one of the experts that I highlight in the Navigate Circle is one of my preferred podcasters, and we're doing an interview and talking about the importance of story, sharing your story. So why not share the story of the book, right?
Mm.
And so that was important for me because I do believe that podcasting is an critical element to building and growing your business and promoting your book.
Would you then guide them to have their own podcast as well, or does it depend on what specific area they are working in? Or
Yeah, it depends because hosting a podcast is a big task. So
mm,
if it's not their core part of their business, their messaging, if they're a communication expert or something like that, if it's a bit like saying to a chef, how about you become, I don't know, a painter because you need to paint your walls. It's not your core business, right? If it's not the core part of your business, I would say go get yourself on as many podcasts as you can.
mm,
It's just as effective. But if you want to be known as a podcaster and have guests and get your message out, absolutely. I've got people who can help you with that.
that's an excellent point you just made, depending on what it is you want to actually be or stand for.
Yeah.
Do you want to have that focus of, I am the podcaster and yes, I have a book? Or do you want to say, this is my book about this topic and I also do podcasting, or I am happy to be invited to be
Yeah.
interviewed? So
Yeah.
that's quite different angles, isn't it, on
They are. Yes.
just that part?
Yeah, and I think hopefully this might give a little bit of ease to people who might be watching this because maybe they're thinking, oh, I've got to have a podcast,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just going, oh my gosh, that's another thing on my to-do list. When, let's just, as we mentioned yesterday, stick to one thing. Just do the area that you're the genius in. There's lots of ways to get it out there. And, I love podcasting, but I don't need to have one.
No, yes, I feel a bit that way as
Yeah.
well. So, so I want to ask you on, let's say the three areas that you definitely want to have someone take on or put in place. But before I say that, I just want to quickly mention about podcasting. I had an author once I worked with, and she made it her goal to be on 100 podcasts in
Wow,
first year of having published, and
that's
he
impressive.
actually did achieve that. So that was really working towards that with that one focus. So the
Yeah.
one focus is a big thing, isn't it?
It is indeed. It is. And it's very calming because it's not so overwhelming, right?
Yeah, that's right. So when we think about you, different businesses, different coaches, coaching in different areas, I know there's always the baseline, the foundation that is kind of, the same, and yet you're dealing with different personalities and you're dealing with what sort of ideas they have around a business, but they've got the book. What would be three absolutely stable components that you would put around for them or guide them to have
Yeah.
and build the book business from there or with
I,
that? Hmm.
I think the first thing is to reflect on what was the purpose of the book? What were we looking to do? And then we're stepping back into the foundations. How are we going to promote that? And so one of the key elements is where is your audience hanging out? And I don't really care where you want to hang out. If you love Facebook, but your audience are on LinkedIn, that's where you need to go. So
Hmm.
really think clearly about the purpose of the book, where is your audience, and how can I connect with them? And it could be a social media strategy on LinkedIn that they might learn from Lanier. It might be a strategy to get on podcasts and share that as much as possible. It might be some live events talking about snippets out of your book, but create a strategy that makes sense to you, that sits well with you without overwhelm, and just attach one activity to that a day so that we're not going all too much, all too hard. Because and write the jolly thing down, write the plan down, right? This thing about having, oh, it's all in my head.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's just a bit of a dream, right? Write it down and share it with somebody. Like you're creating an amazing community. So how about we share it with the people in this community and say, can someone hold me accountable to going, this is what I plan to do. This is where I'm going to go and create our circle of support. Know what the book's about, have a plan to get it out there and write it down. And then the fourth one, I'm going to go with four instead of three. Get an accountability buddy to make sure that you stick to that one thing.
Okay, that's a really great point because I think in business, especially when you are talking coaches, when they are on their own, more or less, they might have some team members behind the scenes, but more or less they are on their own. It is that accountability, somebody to asks you, whether that is, just gently tapping on the door and saying, how much of that did you do today? Did you actually get to that? How do you feel about that? Little things like that can be so valuable for
Mhm.
moving forward with it. So let's do a bit of a summary of what you've shared here, which is really valuable for those in business who've written their book and would like to put that business around the book and really make that the focus point. Be clear on what the purpose was when you wrote the book, is what
Yes.
Joanne guides us here. Look at where is that audience, where exactly are they? And I find that it's a really important point. We do talk a lot about knowing who your audience is, getting that avatar together, but the key is in that, where are they? Where do they
Yeah.
hang out most of the time? Where can I reach them? And then having a look how you're going to reach them. It's not just knowing where they are, but how are you actually attracting them? Is it through video? Is it through text post? Is it direct connecting? Which way is it? And getting some accountability. Joanne, what would you add to that as a final point for this discussion with you?
I think deliberately create your circle of support in this. So, a huge, as you can tell, I'm a huge believer in circles. So, find the people that you can surround yourself with, not just accountability, but can lift you, guide you, support you, challenge you, make it fun. It's going to be hard because it is, but surround yourself with the right people.
And come in, step into the circle where you are the circle builder. Get more information on the booth that Joanne has at this expo. Thank you for sharing that and stepping into the spotlight for us at this time. Thanks, Joanne.
Be good.